Well, our next guest has been called the Keith Green of today's generation. He says his goal is not to lead people to religion, but to lead them to Jesus. Please welcome worship leader Jason Upton as he sings Father to the Fatherless.
I don't know how to say what I'm feeling, and I don't have words to write you a song, but I have this hope and I have this prayer, and I am believing that your words are true, and you never leave us alone. Father of the fatherless, come down and rescue us. We need you again. Friend of the friendless, come down and visit us. We need you again. And how many sons have cried for their fathers, and how many fathers have cried like a son. Well, now every tear saved through the years in memory's bottle becomes the fine wine you serve to the children of God. Father of the fatherless, come down and rescue us. We need you again. Friend of the friendless, come down and visit us. We need you again.
It's so good to have you here
great
again.
being with you.
This song is my favorite off of the album that it's on, but it really has special meaning to you. Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, I was adopted in 1974, in March of 1974, and given a home. And just recently, as I was writing this song, actually, I was in the process of meeting my biological family.
Wow.
Found out that my biological mother lives in Minneapolis, had given me up for adoption, prayed over me, prayed that I'd be a worshiper, wrote a little letter and a little note. Of course, back then it was closed adoptions out of Minneapolis. And as I was actually writing this song, I was introduced to them and my biological father, and found out that my biological mother was listening to worship in a prayer room at Redeeming Love Church of my worship for years, and didn't even know it was me.
You were her son.
And
Wow.
and that process of adoption, you know, even the process of meeting my biological family, really made me value, you know, what my parents gave me, and wrapping their arms around me, and my dad playing ball with me and catch with me and spending time with me and bringing me to church. And it was almost like as we met, all of her dreams for my life, all the things she prayed for me when she put me up for adoption, everything she prayed for me happened
God
with the
doesn't
parents
make
that God gave
mistakes.
me. Yeah, unbelievable.
Wow. I know that you had an encounter with God that has taken you from just singing in churches to really having a passion to reach people with the knowledge that they can know Jesus, walk with them, live with them. How did that happen?
Well, you know, my wife and I, Rachel, she actually didn't grow up in the church so much, and had an experience with God later on in life. And then when we met, she was a 3-day eventer and horse rider and such. And when we met, she just didn't have any understanding of church ways of doing things, and so she actually just encouraged me. We'd be at the house worshiping, I'd be singing songs, and she got me a piano one year in like 1995, and to play in a worship room, and I just started singing songs in the worship room. She said, for some reason, the stuff that comes out of you when you're just singing your heart and being real is so powerful. Why don't you just sing that?
Instead of performing.
And I thought, well, I grew up in the church. You gotta, it's like you learn to perform sometimes in church for the glory of God. You think,
Sometimes
but
people even expect that.
Expect it. But Rachel really taught me about just being myself. And so I just started singing my heart, and so that's what I keep doing.
I think it's one of the things about your music that's so precious is it leads us into a place of non-performance with God, but just letting us receive His love and understanding what it means for Him to be our Father. And I think maybe even your own circumstances in life, God has used to put that into your music so that the rest of us
People ask me all the time, they say, why do you talk so much about the Father, adoption, the spirit of adoption? Because the revelation of the spirit of adoption is that when Paul used that term, what he meant was that was a legally binding contract, that he used it specifically to show that to be a blood child, you could be disowned and disinherited, but to be adopted meant that you could never be disowned and you could never be disinherited.
It's forever.
And so, so
That's the good
that
news.
enters our worship,
That's
doesn't
the
it?
amazing news. I want to mention that the album that Father of the Fatherless is on is Between Earth and Sky, which is awesome. You've got some great songs on there about your kids as well. And then Beautiful People is your most recent release, right?
Yeah.
So I want people to know that you can get a hold of this. They're available across the country. And Jason's got such a great message. By the way, this is appropriate. Today is November 1st. This is National Adoption Month. If you'd like to know more about what CBN and Operation Blessing are doing to touch the lives of orphans around the world, visit cbn.com. Go to Orphans Promise and you can find out about that. Thank you for your passion and your heart for this. It's great to see you again.